So let's talk about being quiet. And I don't mean shy or antisocial. I mean that kind of quiet where you just prefer a really deep connection over, constant chatter. If you have ever felt like you're just wired a little differently in social situations, then you are in exactly the right place. We are about to dig into the fascinating psychology behind the quiet mind. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, you know that feeling, that exact moment. The real conversation kind of fizzles out, there's that awkward silence, and then it starts, the small talk. For some people, this is a total lifeline, but for others, it feels like an anchor dragging you down. It's not just boring, it can be physically draining. So, what is actually going on here? Why does something that fuels one person feel like a complete energy drain for another?
And let's just get this straight right away. If small talk drains you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Seriously, this is not some social flaw that you need to go out and fix. It's a feature, not a bug. It's all about how your mind is wired. Your brain just happens to prioritize a different, deeper kind of connection. It's not antisocial, it's just differently social.
But because this preference is so misunderstood, it's surrounded by all these myths. So before we dive into the science of why this happens, let's just take a minute and tear down a few of the biggest misconceptions about what it isn't.
Okay, first up, the big one. That being quiet is the same as being rude. The reality? Well, that silence isn't a slight, it's actually a sign of thought. For a reflective mind, a pause is for processing. They're not ignoring you. They are busy trying to build a meaningful response instead of just, filling the silence with noise.
And here is a classic mix-up. People think shy and reserved are the same thing. They're not. Shyness is social anxiety. It's a fear of what other people might think of you. Being reserved, that's a preference. It's not about being scared of the party, it's about genuinely preferring a quiet corner or a good one-on-one chat. See the difference? One is driven by fear, the other is driven by choice.
Finally, there's the myth that they're just not interested in you or the conversation. The truth is, they're actually incredibly discerning. Think about it. They treat their social energy like a really precious resource, and small talk, that's a major expense. They're not being aloof. They are saving their energy for the conversations that truly matter to them. Okay, so we've cleared the air. It's not being rude, it's not being shy, and it's definitely not being disinterested. So what is it then? Well, now we get to the really fascinating part, the actual psychology happening inside the quiet mind. And really, it all boils down to this one core concept, cognitive depth preference. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but trust me, it is the master key to understanding everything. It just means that some brains are wired to get a bigger reward from diving deep into a topic. Superficial stuff isn't just uninteresting, it feels like trying to listen to a radio station that's pure static. And this one preference, it shapes everything about how you interact with the world. It's a total shift from quantity to quality. It's the reason why one profound, hour-long conversation can feel so much more satisfying than an entire night of party chatter. These folks aren't avoiding people, they're seeking a genuine connection, and that's just a lot harder to find in a crowd. The social battery metaphor is absolutely perfect for this. For a lot of people, any social activity is like plugging in their phone. It just charges them right up. But for a mind with cognitive depth preference, small talk is like trying to run a heavy-duty video game when you're on 1% battery. It is a critical drain. But a deep, authentic conversation, that is the charger. That can actually replenish your energy.
So we get the wiring, we get the energy management. But let's be super clear about something. This is not a deficit you have to manage. This way of being actually comes with its own set of remarkable, and often totally underestimated strengths. You could even call them superpowers.
Think about it. When you're not so focused on filling the air with words, you're free to do other things. You become an exceptional listener, actually hearing what someone is saying instead of just planning what you're going to say next. You notice the little details, the subtle shifts in emotion, and all of that fosters these incredibly deep relationships. And all that quiet internal processing, it's a total powerhouse for creativity and new ideas.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Silence isn't an absence, but a canvas for thought. It perfectly reframes quiet from being this empty void that you have to fill with noise, to being this wide-open space that's just full of potential. It's where you can finally hear yourself think, connect the dots, and maybe create something new.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what's the game plan, right? How do you actually navigate a world that pretty much runs on noise and nonstop chatter when your own operating system is built for quiet and focus?
And right here, this is the most crucial takeaway of all. The goal is not to force yourself to love small talk or to become the life of the party. The goal is radical self-acceptance. It's about knowing your wiring, honoring your social battery, and then intentionally designing a life and choosing the people in it that energize you instead of constantly draining you.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. In a world that just keeps getting louder, where everyone is shouting to be heard, what if the real strength isn't in speaking up, but in leaning into the quiet? The world is noisy. What could you finally hear if you just gave yourself permission to listen to the silence?